If you have a senior management presentation coming up, you probably have it highlighted on your calendar. After all, it's a big deal. However, if you looked at the calendars of the people you're going to be speaking to, you wouldn't see your presentation highlighted. In fact, you might not even see it specifically mentioned. Instead, you would see blocks of time that have been marked off on their calendars for many presentations. What you shouldn't do is get discouraged by the fact that your presentation is not as, say, highlighted on their calendar as it is on yours. Instead, though, what you should do is remember what these people are going through and make sure that you plan your presentation accordingly. Think about what they face during these blocks of presentations. It's one presentation after another after another. Can they remember all the details? Absolutely not. It's impossible. So what they do is they remember a summary message, something very short. So for example, let's say they listen to a number of brand presentations. When it comes to brand X, what do they remember? It might be something like brand X is facing new competition, losing market share, the brand team is recommending that we do some drastic discounting. And that's what they remember, that message. When you put together your presentation, here's what you have to be careful about. You have to be careful that you define what the core message is that they remember. Because if you don't define what it is, they're liable to take your whole presentation and boil it down to something else, something that you didn't really want. Say, for example, you just wanted more consistent funding for a project. Somehow they boiled it down that you wanted more funding. Well, that's not what you were asking for, but that's what they came up with. So what you have to do is you have to make sure they don't come up with the summary message. You come up with it, and you drive it home. You repeat it over and over, you emphasize it, and when you get to your conclusion, you drive it home with that conclusion. So that later on, when they're only remembering a summary message of what you talked about during that whole 30-minute presentation, it's the message you wanted remembered. That's the way you're going to be effective with these kinds of presentations.